Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 94 of A Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. All right, we've got a lot of things to cover this week, and not least of which is a new finished object, what I'm wearing this week, and a couple other things. I don't think I have a cast on this week, but I have two I want to talk about, actually three. Three new cast-ons I'd like to talk about that will be happening this weekend or sometime into next week. So let's go forth. For anyone who's new to the channel, hi, welcome. I'm Megan. I live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I live just north of Seattle with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. We have a bunch of stuff that's been going on, just fun family things. One thing I forgot to cover, and I'm making a mental note to myself right now to cover, is my last 2 weeks of Me Made May. So we can go through that as well. But you'll see there's 1 or 2 days I actually got dressed up, and one of which I was like, I feel very cute because we went to a birthday party, and that was for a grown-up's birthday party. I was like, wow, this is fun. Let's see. And I also said I was going to talk about ergonomics, but I didn't finish my conversation with Andrea, the knitting PT. So I would like to talk to her before I give you guys the rundown of that stuff. So I think we'll have enough to cover this week, but I will do it next week. And that is where we are for life, just so you know what to expect today. Yes, if you're new, I generally cover what I'm wearing, which sometimes is a new FO, any FOs that I have, any WIPs that are on my needles, sometimes knitting plans like I'll talk about this week, and books, plus other knitting related things. I also am a spinner, and sometimes I have spin updates, not this week. And I am a Sunday cross stitcher, so on occasion, once a quarter, I will talk about my cross stitch project, which is a stocking and is the slowest thing I've ever done in my life, but also I just don't want to give it any more time than that. And that's my choice. Let's just go forth because there's so many things to talk about. So today I am wearing a brand new finished object, which is my Doppio number 3. I felt maybe I should have brought them down, but I feel like I need to compare all the Doppios. This one fits me far more like my Doppio number 1, which was made out of 2 strands of fingering and a Surrey. My second was 2 strands of fingering and a mohair, but they were also singles and the gauge was much tighter. This one is a looser gauge, looser than even I think by pattern. I'll get to that in a second. And I did a size 4 though, like my second one. All the modifications and fun things when you make an object over and over. We'll talk through the things in a minute, but let's just stand up and admire it first. I feel like that's a fun way to start to talk about it. Okay, I'm not going to give myself a head today probably because I'm a little bit lazy, but here we are. Then you can also see my fingers. So per pattern, it is supposed to hit you at your knuckles. So these sleeves are the appropriate length per pattern. I did not really stretch them when I blocked it. Some people don't like that. I will still probably wear, mostly wear them up here, but it is nice. It's a very warm knit for you to be able to go and walk around like this and not, be stretching your sweater at all. Okay. So I did do a thing. I did do this is the only thing that's really off pattern other than my gauge, is that I did a split hem. I feel kind of iffy still about the split hem, but I think I'm going to keep it for now. And I'll tell you what I did to do it, but let's get a little closer. You can see that this split hem is an overlap. So there's no pulled stitch here because it's not, there are more stitches on actually both the front and the back than just half of the stitches. So I'll go over how I did that. I have already seamed it. It's really hard to tell on the outside, but on the inside of the pattern, you can see where I did my seam bump. It just raises that purl stitch because it makes them closer, and you can see that there's no real seam open purl line there anymore. What else? I blocked it. It's sitting nicely. And the back is also just, you know, the back of a sweater. It looks fine. It's cute. I really love the combo. I love the combo on. I think it's very flattering for me and my coloring. It is a little light, like having the gray makes it like a softer color. But yeah, I think the marling looks really nice. If you caught my Instagram on Thursday afternoon, I took that picture at 8 in the morning, but I didn't actually post it until after lunch because I was in straight meetings and I just didn't think about it. So but I did post my Me Made May. I did wear this all day. It is now 5 p.m. and I'm filming right after work before dinner. But yeah, so cute. Okay, let me sit down and tell you things. Okay, that was fun. So I'll put a picture up. Actually, this is just gonna be probably my Me Made May picture from Thursday that I took in the morning, because I might go out and take pictures this afternoon, but it's rather warm-ish outside. It's like 60 degrees. It's not too hot. But this is a very warm thing, and I just don't know if I'm going to catch the right. Maybe if I get out around 7, it'll be like the golden hour and not too hot time. So after dinner, but I don't know. We'll see. So I did not weigh the yarn for this. That will be in my Ravelry project page. Gosh, they're so cute. So I made a size 4. That is supposed to be 46 inches. I just measured this and my measurements say for all of the things. So it's a 48.5 inch or so chest at the widest part. I did a couple extra decreases, 1 extra or 2 extra over pattern. I'll put in my notes in Ravelry. But my row gauge is pretty off. So this raglan line, I think, is more than an inch longer than it should be. So it's also sitting a little bit lower. So that's going to affect just like how it looks. My bicep is 15 inches or so laid flat. I didn't measure the cuff, but the cuff is pretty decently wide. So probably like a good 8.5 or 9 inches across. Like unstretched, just how it is. And the underarm to hem is 11 inches. So my body length, my full body length is 22.5, which is longer than pattern, I think by 2 inches. But I didn't have to go way longer. So I don't think like the body is actually a lot longer than it's written for the body and pattern. It's just that my raglan line is longer. So where it's sitting further away from my armpits. So the whole thing is just longer. My arm length is 18.5 inches, which I think is the same as pattern. And then, yeah, my raglan was 13 inches long. So it's pretty long. Okay. So that's information I have for you on the measurements. I don't know how much yarn, but I'll put that in Ravelry in the next day or so. And I mean, a good amount. I used a good amount, though I bought most of this, all of this year. So I was just in and out, right? But I really like all the things. Okay, here's where I modified. I swapped the sleeve instructions for decreases. So I had never really paid attention that much before. I'm a pattern follower for the most part. I do think through things when I don't love the design or look, but often I just don't choose those patterns. So this one, I just was paying attention more, and it says that you're supposed to, you know, do a certain amount and then you decrease. I don't know, for this size, I think it's like every 5 rows for a certain amount of time, and then you do every 8 rows for a certain amount of time. And I was like, if I want a little bit more bicep room and I don't care so much down here, I just swapped them. So I did every 8 rows for the top part, and then when I did the right amount, I did every 5 rows for the bottom part. So it's more rapid around the wrist, which makes more sense to me, but also makes more sense for my shape because my upper arm is larger than my forearm. If you watch Emily Curtis's podcast, she's a friend of mine living here in Seattle, and she made her first Doppio in the winter when I also made another Doppio. And her comment, or maybe it was just last summer or something, but her comment was that she didn't feel that she needed, just like for her size and everything, and she didn't have a ton of ease in her size, but she didn't feel like the upper arm needed any decreases until she got to the, like below her elbow, because there wasn't a ton of room in it. Now this is pretty roomy on me, but, and because of the size, like I needed those stitches out. I just didn't, you know, it made more sense to make the less rapid ones in the bigger part of my arm, the more rapid in the smaller part of my arm. So that's one thing I swapped. Then I did not do the raglan line stitches where you can do the same purl bump on the inside to seam it. I did that for one sample. So this is the 4th Doppio I've made. I did that for a Doppio sample I made last year. In structurally, etc., I didn't feel like it probably would make much of a difference. In fact, I felt like it made the seam a little bit wider. So I just thought for my own, I would not do that. I've never done the seam on the raglan for my own. I don't have any, but all of my Doppios have the arm and hem purl line. Does it make a lot of difference? I think in your arm especially, no. Okay, just so you know, that's my thought. In your body, maybe, but like this one, I probably could have gotten away for sure without it because the yarn is so light. Overall, this weighs almost nothing. Like it feels like air. It's almost like doing a nudiden because it's 2 woolen spuns and a suri. Like it's just super light. So even though it's very warm, I just think I don't have the heft pulling down to worry about that line on the side. And that's really why the seam is there. Okay, I stopped the seam at the edge of my ribbing so that because I did split hem. So how I did the split hem, and this is I got from a Maddie Mo pattern, because she has in the Ashling, it's also this same way, and you do, it's different. I'm not going to tell you exactly her instructions, but essentially what you do is I knit the back first, and I picked up a couple, I just knit a couple of the extra stitches past the midline. And for me, I just determined how many I wanted. I think I did 4 on each side. So I did those 4 stitches. Then I went across, I did create 1 stitch so that, because it's not an odd number. And I wanted to have an odd number because I wanted to have both a start and end purl. In her patterns, it's already like that. So the very back and the very front middle, I just created an extra stitch. I made one right on both front and back right in that middle stitch, and I don't think you can see it, and it looks smooth, and that's how I allowed me to end on a knit stitch on the wrong side. So a purl stitch on the front side, on both sides. Okay, I did those with a selvage edge so they look nice. And then I knit the back a certain amount of length. Maybe it was like what was recommended by patterns. Maybe it's like 2.5 inches or so. And then I at first did the front shorter. And I took it to knit night and blocked it and everything. And I took it to knit night on Monday and I said, I don't like this. Can you guys help me? Do I just rip out all of the hem, do it straight hem because I know I like the straight hem, or is something else? And Charlotte, Sylvan, Katie, Jess were there, and everyone said the same thing. They were just like, I think that you just need your front hem to be as long as your back hem. No high-low situation. I was like, okay. And I did that, and immediately I was like, yep, that was correct. This is better. And so I just steam blocked the last like 5 rows I added to the front. I didn't make them huge difference, but 5 rows make a big difference in the Doppio. So I did end up pulling out a tubular bind off and then putting it on my needles and just doing those 5 rows and then doing it again. But then, so the bottom one to create the real overlap. So you go past on the back and then on the front, to create the overlap, you have the stitches on hold and you just pick up stitches underneath on both sides. I picked up in the last knit row, so that keeps it the most even looking, so it doesn't like flare down on the front. Super easy to do. And I did 5 also. So there's a 5 stitch overlap. And it doesn't look like that necessarily when you're wearing it. It doesn't look as big, but I think that's 4 or 5 stitches overlapped. So that's, so yeah, so this is where that overlap is. You can kind of see that. And it does still, you know, flare front and back for me. It's, again, my hips are the widest point of my body, but I like how it looks. I'm surprised I like how it looks. I was really skeptical. I really hated it, actually. When I took it to knit night, I was like, do I just rip this out? But I had just finished blocking it and I wanted opinions, and I think they were right. And so I think it looks nice. It does make it a little bit different than my other Doppios. Yeah, cute. I really like it. Oh, and there's a really quick reminder of the yarn I used. So this is Explorer Knits and Fibers Story Weave on Suri. And then the other 2 is a dark blue, black, and light pink violet from Biche Bouche in their Le Petit Lamb's Wool. And that should be up in the thing, the box that's up here or up here, or wherever it is. And yeah, I really enjoyed working with all of them. I think for a woolen spun fingering, it just didn't feel too delicate. Like I didn't break it a bunch of times. I did break it once while I was seaming, which was not a big deal because I just pulled it out a little bit and I spliced it again because that's how I did all of these. So it had very few ends to weave in, just the underarm, some of the collar stuff, and the bind off. So not that bad. Yeah, let's go on. I don't have any other finished objects. I do not have any progress on my book club cardigan. I just didn't pick it up this week at all because I decided to work on other things, which is fine. And I have progress to share on, I think, everything else for the most part. This week, my share for the Super Easy Baby Blanket, which is a free pattern from Pearl Soho, in their morning yarn in the color palette Palazzo, which is it's a kit you can get from here. I'll hold it up this way because now, like, look how many colors we have. Woohoo! I actually did not connect the 7th color. It's so cute. Oh, it's so cute all together. I did not connect the 7th color because I had put that ball somewhere in a weird bag and I couldn't find it last night. And anyway, I am done ball 6 entirely. I am woven in all ends except for this last one here, because I did that while the rest were connected. I didn't cut any ends yet because I'm gonna just see how I feel about how the weave went. So I will finish this coming week. This is my goal, is to be done with it before June, and so I have one more week to do it, and I think I will be fine since I've been doing about a color a week. And that will feel nice. It will feel nice to just get this one done. Let's go on. That's it for that. It's the crib size. It's going to be a little different than the measurements I have up in the box or whatever. I'm using a 4mm needle. That yarn is 75% cotton and 25% yak. It is a worsted weight yarn. It's going much better since I started using the little cable cord. Just overall faster. I also think just using it, I'm having way less split issues. I think in this last color, one that I saw after the fact, a couple of times where I caught it in the next row that I just had like one little strand not on the needle. So overall, more satisfied. It feels very hefty, but it's like really breathable. So it's going to be really nice for this baby that is going to be born in June and will inevitably have tummy time and other things on the floor. Hopefully it won't feel too hot, etc. Okay, one thing that got a ton of attention this week was my mom's summer sorrel, and I just really wanted to be done with the dip stitches. I'm not done with the dip stitches, but I'm so close. I say that I wanted to be done here. What I really wanted to be done was with the color change, and so I did that, and it looks incredible. I really love how it's coming. I can't wait to get into these blues too. I think because I like blue, but I think it'll look just really fantastic the way that this is going. So look at that. I think it's like, it feels so seamless, like it feels so natural, the color change into the yellow. So this is a pattern by Abbye and Selena, who are Wool and Pine Design. This is a pretty like oldish pattern from them. There's a bunch of sorrels. Okay, so there's the regular one, which is like a fingering and Surrey or mohair one. There is the spring one, which is just a DK weight. That is a different ease. It's a different neck. It's a different pattern, but it is still a DK weight, so is the regular one. And then there is this summer one, which is fingering weight, just held by itself, right? So lighter weight. And this has the I-cord neckline, and the other ones have different necklines. Okay, but like incredible, right? So this is a 20 row color change. So you do like one of the new, two of the old, one of the new, two of the old, one, and then the other way, right? Like this is a pretty easy way to do a fade. They've got like a little just chart in the background. They say this is just our recommended way to do the color change, and they tell you rough places to do it, not at a row, right? So it depends on your yarn. It depends if you're doing just 3 colors or 4. For this one, I think they recommend 3 colors, but I'm going to do 4, which is what I need yardage wise anyway. So I used quite a lot of this orange color, like nearly the whole ball. Yeah, this is how much I've left. This is not a lot. This is just a tiny bit. So I started exactly where I needed to. I'm into the third chart, and I believe I have one dip stitch left, and then you have like the little closure. I think that's all. I have ended the dip stitches. You guys, I had a heck of a time. I was doing this while I was talking to people, and it was the bad time to do this, and I had to go back and change a bunch of stuff. But anyway, you can see here that you have every other dip stitch is continuing, and the other, you know, the in between ones are already done. So I have already just purl stitches underneath of it. I have been doing the last few rows just on my pin the whole way around so that my purl tension is just a little bit tighter. But yeah, so I've got to do one more dip here, I think, and then I end it the same way you ended this piece here, which is just like a little, you know, knit some together, make ones on the other sides, so you have the same stitch count, but you know, have gathered the edge of that. So yeah, I think that's it. Just one more plus the ending. So that chart maybe has like 14 rows left or something like that, maybe a little less, in the yellow. And I'll continue through the split for sleeves with yellow until probably a little bit under where I think her full chest will be. And then I'll start a transition there with the lighter color blue, and then we'll end the bottom in the dark blue. So I'm really excited. This is the struggle. Yes, it's a lot of stitches, and yes, oh, I mean, that's the struggle right now. It's like this yoke is 460 stitches or something. Like, it's a massive amount of stitches. Once I am done and split for sleeves though, and also just once you split for sleeves, you do one essentially short row, or, you know, one, make a double stitch and turn it inside out, and you just knit, do the knit side the rest of the way. So I'll just work the whole rest of this thing inside out, which is great. So yeah, here we are. I'm making my mama size 8, I think. Let's look at the notes. 8. It's a 51 inches. Recommended ease is 2 to 6 inches. I'm doing less ease for her. That's like probably only an inch of ease. I might do some extra cast on stitches in the underarm though. Oh, I think I need to correct this in the notes. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter needle. I had 3.75, which I think is what's in the pattern, but there's certainly only a 3.5 on here. I don't think I've taken these needles out at all, so I don't think that this is wrong. I'll check a gauge and stuff to make sure it's not getting too tight, but yeah, I think this is probably correct. For what I've been using the whole time. I am using Hooker's Corner Squish sock in these two colors. Are Koi is the orange, and the yellow is Here Comes the Sun. And so I'm like really excited for her to have this. In case you're wondering, oh, this is also 100% superwash merino. It's 438 yards for 100 grams. In case you're wondering, my mom is like maybe a light summer palette. I would say she's probably a light summer palette. She's blonde and she's got like ruddy skin, and she's a very white lady. So this, yeah, anyway, is going to be for her. You could not convince me to wear this as a shirt, but it's cute for her. Also, it's her favorite color. I did not know she trained my daughter on this, but they hang out together during the day while Mike and I work from home. And she said the other day, like, I don't know if Theo was telling me about colors, and my mom just goes, "What's Grammy's favorite color?" And I was like, does she know that? And she just immediately, Theo goes, "Orange." I was like, I guess they talk about it. I have no idea. She did say for me, my favorite color is purple, which is not far off. I think teal is my favorite color. If you've looked at my grid at all, you might agree. But purple is a really, really, really close runner-up. Okay, let's go to another gift knit. Wow, 3 gift knits in a row. The 3 after are all for me, so that's fun. But I have part of my socks, my year of socks. These are my May socks coming up here. For anyone who's new or doesn't remember, I am doing a year of stash socks with some of my knitting group. So I think Katie, me, Ariel, Emily are all doing stash socks for the whole year. And then I think Maya is trying to do once a quarter or a little bit more. And Charlotte is doing stash cuffs instead of socks, which is also really fun. But this is my progress on the socks. I am still doing like whatever we're calling this, concurrent knitting or something. This is the Charlotte method. So I have 2 socks on separate needles. They are the same 2mm needles. They're probably right at almost the same row also. I usually do like 10 or so rows, depending on what section I'm on. Like heel flap, I'll do the whole heel flap and then the whole heel flap. I am just past, you can see that it's like smaller right here. I am just past the non-ribbing, like slip stitch middle arch support section. This is the Comfort Core sock set View C by Summerlee, who is Summerlee Knits. And you can see like the cute little, it's kind of like supposed to mimic a tube sock, you know, type thing. I have only probably like 25 more rows or less on each of these before I go to the toe, probably less. These are dude socks. These are from Mike's younger brother. And so I'm like really loving this color. I actually want to use, I said I was like worried about the yarn, but I'm fine. I will be able to do the whole sock, but I do think I want the toes to be purple on both of these so I can use some of this yarn in my sea glass sweater because it's like the perfect color for my sea glass sweater. So yeah, here we are. Definite progress. This part feels like a heel flap to me. It's maybe I just don't like knit one, slip one. I just like hate that a lot. Made me sleepy while I was doing these too. But I'm gonna do my darndest to finish these this month. So I don't have a ton, you know, this is a lot of sock done. So I don't have a ton to do. I'm gonna probably prioritize these this weekend to just try to get most of that done before Memorial Day weekend is over. So I have one other thing I really want to work on this weekend too, which is a new cast on I'll tell you about. I have one sock of Matthew's, which is last month's sock. So I have been having this in my knitting bag because these are the same everything. So I just am doing like the same number of rows. What I realized is my gauge is definitely tighter on this than this. This sock density is like the yarn density is like heavier, this one, than the bounce sock. This is bounce sock from Long Dog Yarn. I think maybe that's like a 437 per 100 grams. It's 80/20 superwash merino and nylon, and yeah, it's a 4-ply. Anyway, it's definitely a little bit tighter, my row gauge especially. So I had to do a couple extra rows of the instep, and I'm gonna have to do probably like 4 extra rows of the foot. It's not a lot, so it's been fine. But I actually think those might fit him a little bit better than the other ones, which I think are just like a teeny tad big. But the gauge is on for pattern. It's just when I tried it on Mike's foot, I was like, this is like a little bit big feeling, but also I don't know what their preference is for like foot. If they want their foot to be like a tight sock or not. There's a lot of preferences that go into socks, I've realized after making them and trying to gift them this year. So for... yeah, anyone who's new, I'm making for most of Mike's immediate family. So he has 2 brothers who both have partners, who both have kids. So everybody gets one, plus his parents. My mom is also in the queue this year, a couple for me, no Mike. He has told me a couple of times that he doesn't think he'd wear any socks. I would make him. But I would like him to maybe make him like game day socks, like just for when he's watching Husky games at home, because this is the team that probably means the most to him. So we'll see. Okay, let's talk about the sea glass sweater. Here is my bin of yarn. I made so much progress this week. I don't even think you're ready for it. I love it so much. I also brought it upstairs to show Mike because I was doing something last night that I wanted. It was for 5 minutes, could not be a desk knit. And so I just took it upstairs to do that after Theo was sleeping, and Mike saw it for the first time since I had the bin of yarn. And he told me that that's a crazy amount of yarn for a project. And I don't disagree, but he didn't have any concept of what it was going to look like because I just had the bin of yarn upstairs. So he has not seen it once since. And then he saw it and I was like, oh, look how beautiful it is though. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I do have some of these darker stripes, and that is just really colors that are quite dark in my mix. Most of them are lighter. I'm trying to incorporate the dark ones, not at exact regular intervals, but every once in a while, not too many close together, because I do have some of these darker lines. I like it. I think that's great to have that. So here's my stitch marker from last week. I did so much, everybody. Like 30 something rows, the biggest part of my yoke, and I split for sleeves. Look at me. I have like 4 rows done last night. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to probably do 15 rows at a time is what I think the mixed will be. It's so pretty. Just get a load of that. Okay, so I think the best way for me to do this is I have my monitor and my laptop stand on my desk are on an elevated platform. Because I have been using this as like a meeting knit for a lot, like I don't do very many rows typically a week, like 10 or so. Maybe I'll do more, but I will probably just do it down here because of the way I need to organize it. So like there's definitely some nights a week where Mike golfs or does his golf simulator here in the house, or he putts or other things, and I just usually sit upstairs by myself, but I might come down here and back into my office after working, which is not my favorite thing to do, but this chair is pretty comfy. And I've got this, because they're on an elevated stand, I've got space underneath, and right now there's not really anything there, like a calculator and like, I don't know, nothing. A little calendar thing. Move those out of the way and put in order. I use this yarn, then this yarn, then this yarn, then this yarn to 15. 15, I did a measurement yesterday, is about like where nothing's going to get squished or pushed together. If I do 15 rows then of body and I pull all those yarns out and then they won't be in the bin, then I will go and do sleeve 1 and then sleeve 2 right away, use all those yarns, put them back in the bin, and then reassess and do that again. So body, then arm, then arm. That's going to be relatively annoying, but I think one benefit is because I have been weaving in ends every night or so, my whole back is woven in, everybody. They're cut, they're woven, they're beautiful. And it looks so nice on this side too. You can kind of see that's a little bit denser there. Just like if I'm holding it, like, I don't know, it looks lighter somehow, but, I think it'll, when I wash it, I think it'll like be okay. But there was no instruction for this. So this is one mod I made, is there's one extra body stitch than per pattern, because when you flip, like I said before, you're going to flip the back BOR to the underarm BOR. When you do that and you're doing a main color, I was like, how do I do that? Because I got to the next row and I was going to have 2 next to each other. I was like, no, that's going to drive me nuts. I can't do that. So what I ended up doing is I just cast one on with the Make One Right in the middle, and with like my next color row, which was actually the main color. And then I went and did that row. So the right back of my body has 1 extra half row, right? And that's just how it is. That's how it would be anyway. But if you're changing colors all the time, I don't think you would notice that little half row, or it would, you know, it would be different and stuff because of the main color thing. So I ended up going through here. Here's where it is. I was actually able to just cover that up with when I sewed in ends too. So you can't actually see it. It just doesn't exist. So the end of that is, it's right here. Right here is like the last row. And you just can't see it. Like, it just looks pretty seamless. Like, you know, as seamless as this back area looks. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. That ended up working out really well. So I've just 1 extra stitch. Then I went through and I just did all the things else per pattern. So I have like 4 ends from 4 different color changes to weave in here. I need a little bit more real estate before I do that, just because of the way they are. And then, so yeah, I'm going to do my 15, 15, 15. Okay. Well, I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully next week I have at least 1 of those rounds done. That's my goal. But yeah, I'm excited. I love the way it looks. I think it's super rad. I'm excited to finally have it because it's been on my list. Like maybe one of the very first sweaters patterns I bought that I was like, I want to make this someday. It was the right time for me now. I love the combo. I love the colors I picked. I love having the main color. I think a truly scrap version would be really fun too, but I just really fell in love with the idea of doing it in like a single palette. It would be a fun one to do for like Theo though. I think there is a mini version of this too with like smaller sizes for kids. But it would be fun to do one for Theo eventually, that just like any kind of color she wants, or just like a crazy rainbow, because she's like a rainbow kid. She loves all the colors. Heavily pink and heavily black, but she likes all the other colors too. Oh, but what I was going to say is I think just doing that methodology too will force me to weave in ends, and then I won't have the problem of, oh my gosh, I just did that whole sleeve and I have a bajillion ends to weave in, or to make it seem, because I feel like that's way more daunting, because you just don't do that much knitting before you change a color, which is great because, you know, sleeves go kind of fast if you think about it that way, but it's also horrible because there's so many ends. So okay so far. I mean, great so far, but yeah, end weaving is just okay. I've got that down to a science. That's my podcast time. When I start some podcasts, I just weave some ends in. Now, let's go through my Uptown Tee next. I made a lot of progress on this one also. I'm on the back right now, so let me flip to the front. I think this is where I was. I put this on like just yesterday, and I like kind of estimated about where I was before, but like ish there. And I've now split for sleeves. It's so fun. It's so a moment. Like, this neon is everything. That mesh in neon pink is really cute. Okay, so it looks so darling. I have not tried it on. I need to do 15 to 20 more rows. I just literally 1 row ago split for sleeves. So I don't have any body done yet, and I am gonna need to do that before I can try it on. So I think gauge wise and everything, I'm doing okay. I might be a little bit loose, but that's okay for me because I picked a smaller size. Not that I don't want it to fit as I had thought, but it's also like having a little leeway is nice. It's fine for me. It's so cute. Okay, I love it. And that raglan line looks so nice there. Okay, yeah, very adorable. If you are, this is my first project for our PKW Flock You Cal, which is the Cal that I am hosting along with Ariel and Emily. We need to post our late June, probably it'll be late June call, which we will do another call. We did a kickoff call May 10th, which was the start of the Cal. You are not too late to join. We will go all the way until August 10th, the end of Flock weekend, for you to be able to put your FO object submission forms in for prizes. This is my first. I haven't seen Ariel in a couple weeks, so I don't know how hers is going. I don't think Emily has cast hers on yet, but she was finishing her spin, so hopefully she will cast hers on soon. She's going to do an Avenue Fest. I think I will do at least one more, and it'll probably also be pink, because I think I'm going to just jump right into my pink era right now. I got a lot of pink yarn to use, and I feel good about that decision. Yeah, so I'm really loving this. It's going great. I will say, when you swap some of, there is a little bit of compound raglan happening here. You can actually see it right here at the bottom, where you stop doing sleeve increases, so you're just doing body increases, which changes the shape of that sleeve, so it's not just like a straight diagonal line. You can see it's kind of more vertical here. There were definitely a couple times where I realized that the row later, as I was doing the sleeve, I was like, whoops, I forgot to do my sleeve decrease. It's not a big deal. This kind of lace is super forgiving, and so I just fudged it a little bit. I mean, I'm good on the numbers. I just had to like rip back and redo and have a little extra yarn a couple places, or, you know, like push the yarn across the row a little bit. Okay, so there's that. And that is obviously a pattern by Toriu, Uptown Tee. I'm excited to have that one this summer. That's going to be a good one. I will not wait to wear it till Flock, so hopefully it still looks nice for pictures at Flock. Okay. Here is the back, and the back is done. I am cut. Yarn is cut and nothing else done, but this is where I was last week and I have a really cute Hello Lavender one on here. I'm using like almost this whole set right now because I just really love them. This is the one that's on the Uptown, and I have the other one somewhere else. Oh, I might use that as my BOR right now for my sea glass, but this is the Calm Night Cami by Lily Kate France, who is Lily Kate Makes. I really love Lily Kate patterns. They're so thoughtful and in design, and this was a bit sloggy feeling, just the back panels I feel like always are a little bit, but I'm really loving this yarn. it's really, really, really soft and feels really nice. I think the drape is going to be incredible. I think this was a good pick here. This color is going to look really fab on me, so I'm like really excited. You can see the picture here, but this is a V-neck camisole that has like a really nice double knit collar on it. Same, gonna have the double knit armbands, so like lots of horrible long take forever finishing bits, but worth it because they'll be so nice. So this week I have to pick up my shoulders and start the V-neck. I mean, it would be really nice if I finished at least connecting under the V, which I don't think is probably as long as this. Well, I don't know, because the band, this is not a huge, I mean, looks all correct there. But the V is not super shallow, so it might be almost until you connect for body that you are still doing the V. So it'd be nice if I got the front done. I'm not going to hold out on the whole front now thinking about that, but this would be good. This is on my Make 9 for the year, so is my sea glass. So I have those two, which are maybe projects 4 and 5 of my Make 9. So that's pretty good. I mean, we're not toward the end, we're not quite at the middle of the year yet. So at the end of June, if I had 5 of them done, I'd be ahead of the game. I would like to cast on my my cow cardigan soon too, which is another one on my Make 9. Yeah, and I don't know, I'm craving a cardigan knit. That's a weird thing to say. Oh, and sorry, I didn't say for the Paisley, or for the Uptown Tee too. That's Paisley Knits in Malibu Dream House, and it's her summer sock, which is 65% silk and 35% linen, and that base has been incredible. I will say I have had in the first skein maybe like 4 or 5 like bloops of silk. I think it's silk. It's definitely silk. Where it's just not spun finely. Like they just got like a little bit of, you know, excess in the spin. This is mill spun, so it's not like she did anything, but those pieces, I've just been pulling them out because I don't want them there, because like one of them was huge and I was like, yuck. So just pulled it out, and then silk will let you do this too. I just like spit. I didn't have to splice it at all. I just spit on it a little bit, and then I rubbed it together to kind of give the ply some tension again. It wasn't like it was apart at all. I literally pulled it out, and there was still, you know, it was still like mostly plied together on that strand. It's been fine as far as like knitting and looking back at it, so I'm not worried about the strength of it, but just FYI, that's the only thing I've noticed. But that yarn has been pretty fun to knit with, not least of it because of the color. The color's fab. But this one is going to be a size 5, and this is going to be 47-inch bust. I'm dead on for gauge right now, so hopefully that continues as I join the body, etc. This is supposed to have 1 to 3 positive inches of ease, and I'm there. What's 1 for me? I'm currently measuring it like a 46-inch bust, just as bodies change, as they will. I am using a 3.25 millimeter needle, and for the body, and this is Treehouse Yarns Cypress Silky Camel, which is a 50% camel, 50% silk, and the camel has nice short hairs. It gives it super softness. It makes it really bouncy and nice to work with. The memory is really good on it. Yeah, so this space is not always available from Lauren at Treehouse, but it's really nice if you ever get a chance to use it. It already matches my lipstick. Ooh, I'm so excited. I'm real stoked for this one. It's gonna be great. And I have some a buddy knit. Oh, I need to send her a picture of this, of doing this with me. I saw a couple others get posted recently in our Discord channel, so it's a good summer knit, and I hope that if you have this in your queue, that I can encourage you to make it, because I think the drape is going to be so nice. It's going to be a really nice kind of like just like elevated camisole, you know, V-neck kind of tank top. Okay, that's all for WIPs. Let's talk about a couple plans and then books. So no acquisitions this week. I actually have, I said 3, but let's call 4. I have 4 cast-ons I really want to accomplish in the next little bit here. This is off the needle, so I feel good about that. One thing that will be coming up, we've talked about this a couple of times, but I'm ready. I want to jump back into the last book of Throne of Glass, and I want to use my Take It Off yarn. If you have read Throne of Glass, you'll know hopefully that is a really, and you can read this in Jess's comments for this color. This is from the Moss Made Me Cry collection last year. That Sarah J. Maas really hit us hard on the beginning of book 7, and there's a lot, this phrase is repeated quite often by the main character. Take it off. So this is what I want to knit as I'm reading that and crying, for sure. So, but I did just get into a test knit for Claire Jackson. Surprise anybody? No. I skipped a couple of her signups for tests. She's been very active recently on the design front because she went from full-time at her job to part-time, so she could focus on this, which great for her. I love Claire designs. I think she's super fabulous. She's also the nicest human, and so like really great. But I was saving this. I was actually thinking about possibly doing the Coffee Date, which is a pattern by Samantha Guerin. It's drop shoulder and has like a texture kind of like different size ribbing sort of, or like syncopated ribbing kind of. Anyway, this is actually, I'm going to do her Compass Crew DK. And actually, I think this is maybe a better choice. So this will have just the line, it's like down your shoulders and your back and maybe even the sides of like a slipped stitch. So it gives you like this nice line. It'll be a crew neck. I just want this yarn to be in something almost plain. That's what I wanted. Is like, I thought about it even for like a light ever after, because I want it to be the star of the show. I think this little amount of, like this is it's small, it's a really short speckle. The way that these speckles are going to show up is going to be impactful. And there is quite a lot of light, dark, but like just gradient in the hues of this gray. So I don't want it to be too busy. I don't want to lose a pattern in it, but I also I want this yarn to shine. So anyway, I'm going to do the Compass DK. I think we'll get the pattern by the end of the week. So next week. So I might not cast on this week, but I will cast on as soon as I get the pattern. I'm going to wind this yarn though this weekend. Okay, that's one thing. That's the furthest out probably. Maybe not. That or this will be far. I have 2 skeins of this already wound, but this is my Nordlys yarn, which you would have seen a couple months ago. We got from ZZ Textiles. This is from her sweater quantity library. You could just order this color. This is an amazing green, slightly blue leaning green, that I am going to make an Amaretta blouse with. I've decided, this is my final decision. I can't think about it anymore. The Amaretta blouse is by Isabella Clark, who is 100 Acre Wool on Instagram. She has some really beautiful patterns. I've only made one other thing by her, which was a sample knit for Erin at Back Loop last summer. And this one, the Amaretta blouse, I'll pop the picture up here because it's so good. There's a bunch of versions. She gives you a pattern that, like, I just get so drawn to these patterns because I love a good bang for your buck. There's picot edging, there's the option of having a button band, there's the option of not having either of those, there's the option of long sleeves or short sleeves or like elbow sleeves. There's a bunch of things, different amounts of ease, etc. And she's got a bunch of samples that she's done with this pattern. So I need to buy the pattern and then make this. And this is our group knit color. So I have 2 balls wound. This is my 3rd. I will have enough. I have decided on doing all the picot edging because I really loved that in my latest Wool and Pine test knit, and I want to do a faux button band. There's a person who did a suggestion on how to do this. I would like to use this tip for other things in the future too, but I do not need buttons down. I want the look of buttons, but I don't need physical buttons. I don't care about taking off that way. This is going to be, this is 80% superwash merino and 20% silk, so it's going to have plenty of memory for me to just pull it on and off overhead. But the way to do this, so this person says, is they use a barber cord and just yarn over the barber cord every round to have essentially one extra stitch that is a pre-picked up place for them to do a double knit band up then with button holes in it, and then you just do the buttons. I mean, the whole thing is knit in the round, then I don't have to knit any of it flat, and you just do that after the fact, and then you put buttons on the shirt where there is no actual gap, but you close the button bands over, so you would never have any gapping. It's a way to do a faux button band. So I'm going to use that trick. Hopefully it works well for us to do this. So that I need to cast on because that we are planning to have for flock. Okay. The second to last thing actually is probably the first thing I cast on. Maybe I'll cast this on actually first. These two are neck and neck. So those two will be end of weekish cast ons probably. This I have had a request from my husband. He does not watch the podcast, so I'm going to tell you about this. For Father's Day, all he wants is head covers for his golf clubs. He's so funny because I don't know where he got this, but he found, there are free patterns on Ravelry, but apparently I was taking too long and he found a pattern and bought it on Etsy. I love him so much. He bought it on Etsy and then he sent it to me the other day. Like he sent me like the downloaded file. This was a couple months ago actually. And I still haven't made them for him. And he did all this effort. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. It's actually their bulky weight. So it's I'm going to hold acrylic yarn double. He wants them to be purple and gold that are husky colors. They have pom-poms on the top. It was the look that he wanted, which is kind of where I got stuck because I was like, there's a lot on here. There's some free, there's some not free. I don't know what sizes he wants. This comes in 3 sizes. I will probably make all 3 of them. Actually, I'll probably make the large and the small because he wants it for his, well, I don't know. Maybe it's the large and the medium. He wants it for, he has specific clubs he wants them for. His driver and 2 other, maybe his fairway woods. And so I love him and I'm going to do this. It's bulky weight though, you guys. These are like 54 stitches, you know, a tube to make. And then you, not even 54 stitches for the biggest size, I think. Then you expand a little, make a bigger head, and then you close it and you make pom-pom. Like this should not take me very many hours. And so I'm going to try to get them done. I'm going to gift them to him for Father's Day. So I don't know. I'll get at least 1 done this weekend is my goal. So I can give him the whole set then. He is traveling to golf weekend the weekend after Father's Day, so I definitely want him to have them by then because he will show them off and it'll be very cute. Okay, my last new cast on plan is that I want to do the Harlow hat flip. You guys can have all the opinions you want on Andrea Mowry making the same pattern with a twist. Other people do it. People still buy them. People can buy whatever they want. I've never bought the actual Harlow hat, so now I figured I don't need it. Because the flip instructions, you would just probably not make as much of the band. You don't do the syncopated change to the brioche, and you just go on your merry way. I have 2 skeins of Dream State by Spin Cycle. That is what the original pattern is from. I could certainly use these together. That would be a very interesting hat. Really, if you haven't seen the Harlow flip, it's just a brioche hat that you syncopate well, I don't even know actually. I think you just syncopate brioche the brim part so that you can flip it and you will have the same color on a brimmed hat on essentially the inside part of the brim, so that when you flip it, it's the same color as the actual hat and vice versa. It's reversible. And anyway, it's made with just 2 skeins of Dream State. So I could certainly do this together. Maybe you guys can give me some opinions, though I probably will cast this on before you tell me. Maybe I'll put the opinions in my stories actually, but this is also an option. Or I'm kind of loving this as the option. I'm only going to do 1 hat this weekend, but I'll just keep this in my back pocket for other things. This is a little bit more contrast. And there's just really the dark purple in here, but I think like this would look nice. This is like a Malabrigo worsted I have. Then I have this one, which could certainly still go with this one as like a brighter version. But if I did it by itself, I could also hold it with this kind of single drop cloth skein I have from Woolberry. So my front runners might be these 2. Again, these could be together, or this could be together. I do really like this. This is very fun. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, this is a very different look. So I don't know. I will just maybe solicit some people's opinions because I'm bad at making them myself. It's really like this is the options. This could be an option. This 2 could be an option. These 2 could be an option, or these 2 on the end could be an option. So, do you know? But anyway, this Andrea Mowry is doing, she has 2 weekends she does this year. It's socks generally, I think, in Thanksgiving weekend, and for Memorial Day weekend, she'll usually do another new release quick pattern. This as a hat, I felt like is kind of a no-brainer. I think Ariel did the hat last year, which I don't like the shape of the one. It was like a traveler hat. But this one, I love the shape of it. I love a brioche everything. I don't have a brioche hat. It's like, I think it would be really fast to knit because it's all worsted weight. So why not, right? Just do a quick one here. So those are the four things I might be casting on. One of those hats, not two of them. Head covers for Mike, the Amaretto blouse, and eventually the Compass Crew DK. I hope that we get the pattern next week because I really want to start my reread. But I've got, you know, when you just put things on your TBR or like as a request from the library and then get them all at once. I've been dealing with that too. So I don't need to read that right now. I'm not like running out of things to read. Speaking of, let's go to books. I finished 4 books this week. One of them was the longest book. I read first Rhythm, Chord, and Malykhin. I started this last week and I finished it like on Friday, I think. This is another Mariana Zapata book. I'm just trying to read all the ones I can get my hands on. I really like her writing style for the most part. This one, not as much. This was definitely my least favorite of the ones I've read from her. It's a really different kind of story. It's still a slow burn, for sure. Super slow burn. And there's still like, she still is good at writing a relationship that morphs into something that's believable for a relationship. It's not insta love. There's definitely instant attraction here, but not so much insta love. There's a good, you know, friendship and bond that is built beforehand. The thing I didn't like about this as much as I felt like their interactions felt very juvenile, and for a lot of it until they kind of got more serious, and the girl was just like really annoying to me. The basis of this story is that Gabby, the main character, has a twin brother who's in a band, and he is touring the States, US, and Australia. And their merch person gets fired right before the tour kicks off, or like in their first stop of the tour. And she has gone on tour with them before and then said never again. And then she goes on tour with them again because she has just graduated college or finished college and didn't know what to do with herself. Okay, first of all, a couple of things I don't find really believable is there's no reason given to you that she's 26 and she's just graduated college. I mean, people can take as long as they want, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like it was a weird thing that was missing in the story because like most people are 22 when they graduate or 23, and like she's never PhD or anything. It's just like her bachelor's degree, and we just don't really get any story about why it's taken her so long to do that. And then there is the main guy character is Sasha Malykhin, who is in the other band that they're touring with. Obviously, things ensue. Part of what I think annoys me is that like the whole thing for Gabby is that she has a twin brother. And he's like a dude, and he has 2 best friends who are in his band, and she has always been like one of the guys. So like a lot of their interactions, I just like writing that felt very like juvenile and dumb, like the way that they interact with each other for her to be one of the guys. And I, you know, just not my favorite thing. It was fine. So okay overall, and it was entertaining enough to read. I did enjoy the love story once we got past some of their like weird interactions. Okay, the second thing I read, I loved so very much this week. Okay, so this is called Holy Terrors, which is Little Thieves book number 3. This is by Margaret Owen, who I did not know is a native to the just north of Seattle area, or at least she lives here now. She was doing a talk about this book right after it came out at the local bookstore right here in Lake Forest Park. And I had no idea. And I saw a friend there and she was like, oh, are you here for the event? And we just happened to have knit night and go pick up dinner there at the town center. And I saw this friend and I was like, wait, what? No. And she was like, oh yeah, she lives here. She comes to the other author talks. And I was like, what? Okay, clearly I'm not that connected to the book scene. Maybe I should plug in there a little bit more. But anyway, I didn't actually read 2.5. So maybe I'll go back. I didn't realize there's a 2.5 for this, but I think this is the last book in the series, maybe. But anyway, this is about Vanya Ross, who is been a lot of things in her life, a thief among them. Okay. And I've talked about the other books because I've read them all in the last like year and a half or so. They're just so good. This was a recommendation from Jess, who's in my knitting group, and I don't know if anyone else has finished it for my knitting group, but we all were talking about reading this one. It's so, so good. I don't want to give too much away because like there's a lot of things that lead up to this in the other books. So if you haven't read them, essentially this is a semi-magical romantasy series where romance is a big part of it, but it's so much more than that. Like that, the romance is definitely a driving factor for some amounts more of all the books, but like the first one I felt very like heisty in nature, with some magical elements. They have what's called like the low gods. So like death and fortune are two of the low gods in it, that justice, and I don't even know the other ones. There's a bunch of other ones that they talk about. I'm not sure where all this mythology is pulled from, like what region. I think like some of it must be Germanic, but I'm not sure really all of the background of that. But yeah, so anyway, there's Heisty, the first one. The second one was a little bit of cult. Accidental cult creation, which was fantastic. And this one is way darker, a little bit. Well, it's darker for sure, but it's the ultimate villain plays with time and kills a lot of people to take the throne. And so you're trying to figure out who this is. It's like a lot of a whodunit, but like bloody and not good in this, you know, society that has a bunch of like, there's an emperor, but then there's a bunch of low rulers too, and like they're vying for the throne, and there is a lot of magic happening, but it's not like spell casting magic necessarily, kind of. So it's very interesting how she writes this, and it's just, it really sucks you in. Vanya's such a good character. There's a lot of the sub characters, like the side characters in this, less so her family, but yeah, it was very good. A little bit heartbreaking right in the beginning and the middle because of Vanya's personal stuff, but overall I felt really satisfied about the story and how they got to the conclusion. Okay. The next one I finished was the longest book that didn't need to be so long. Heat of the Everflame. This is the Kindred's Curse number 3. This is a saga, so I think it's done. I think I heard some words me like at least 5 books. Definitely going to be another one because some big cliffhanger you get left on here. But essentially this one is following the same characters as the first 2. This is by Penn. Diem is the queen here or whatever that you're following, and at the end of the last book she gets herself in a pickle, and then you're dealing with that in the beginning of this one, and just, it's too long. There definitely should have been some editing. What I felt, and this is my gripe, like I feel entertained by most of the story. I think the whole thing could have been edited down about 300 pages. It's just too long. I mean, it's like 900 pages long. Yes, a lot of stuff happens. Yes, they go to other courts and there's like some intrigues and other things happening that you need to know about. But there were quite a few times where I felt that the pacing was not even too slow. It was just a little bit repetitive. And okay, so here's what really gets me. There were several times in this where I felt that she was writing an adult romantasy book for juveniles. So she was using these like juvenile tactics of writing, but we don't need them. We're all grown-ups here. I don't need you to smack me in the face 800 times with the fact that the main character is not paying attention and something is wrong with another character. We all know. We got it the second time something weird happened. I was like, even the first time I was like, that's weird. Why does she just think that wasn't weird? She's just like, oh, that must be something else. And there were just too many. It was like 30 things in a row over 200 pages until she finally is like, oh, something's wrong. Like, no, I don't buy it. There is definitely a credibly she's in a lot of death-defying situations, and so her attention is not fully on the problem, but it was too many and they were too blatant and it just didn't really make sense to me. Okay, that's my gripe with the writing. Overall though, I liked it. I thought it was fun. it's fun for sure. It was long, really, really long. Would I tell you to read that series? Like, I think you have to, I mean, it's not finished, so I can't tell you for sure, but you have to be willing to just go with it's too long. And this I felt most in this book than others. There were other pieces like in the second book where her relationship with an old flame was just taking too long for her to figure out that it was over, right? And so like this whole thing, I was like, okay, all right, like let's move on now. But you know, you gotta let the characters get there, I guess. The last thing I finished was the second of the Rebel Blue Ranch books from Lyla Sage, Swift and Saddled. This one was really good. I really liked it. So it's about Ada, who comes to town to be the interior decorator on the new ranch project where they're like kind of making a dude ranch on the old big house on the property. And Wes, who is the middle brother of the Rebel Blue, the Ryder family, middle kid. So he's the younger brother. But anyway, so it goes youngest sister, and then it's the middle brother. And then I'm reading the third one now, which is Gus, who's the oldest brother. But Weston, or Wes, is like the consummate middle child. He's a peacekeeper. He likes to like make sure everybody else is happy. And he's finally doing a thing for himself. And Ada's had a really bad relationship her last relationship, and is trying to find herself, but also maybe is finding her place here. And I thought it was semi, like, her reaction was realistic for some of the stuff, and I loved what they did with the characters, what she did with the characters overall. I felt like very satisfied. It's just like they're kind of like warm and gooey, but also a little bit smutty, and so like I just love that. I love. I'm reading the third one now, and it's also so good. So really, really enjoying it. Okay. Friends, that's all I have to share this week. I felt like this was still a long episode, even though I didn't talk about ergonomics. A lot of plans coming up. It is a long weekend. I did take Friday off to give myself just like a little extra time to do. I have a couple chores and things I have to like go actually out of the house and run errands. And I wanted to do that before Monday when things are closed. And I also have Theo on my own because Mike is doing another quick golf weekend. He's just doing a single night overnight on Sunday and Monday. So I have Theo, which is great fun. We're going to do the zoo and do some stuff outside of the house. So maybe less time to knit those days. So I wanted to also give myself a little extra knitting time tomorrow, which is what I will do. Yeah, I am so thankful that you are here watching along with my knitting journey. Please let me know what you are working on. I also want to know, like, I really think now a lot of the states, at least, we're getting into the nice weather or the hot weather everywhere. So are you really itching to cast on all the summer things? What are the summer patterns that have been grabbing your attention? I've been trying to keep up on like new releases. There's definitely a couple things I didn't see like test calls for or anything that I've seen like patterns pop up. So if you've got new things on that you've cited or that have made it to your list of things you want to make, post those below so I can just like check it out. I haven't done a bundle in a while, like a new bundle of patterns or like any kind of pattern roundup. Is there anything that you guys would find interesting that I could do some research on for you? It's one of the things I love to do. I just love to creep in Ravelry. It's so fun. It's a joyous little social community. So yeah, I want to know, what are you working on? What's caught your eye to make soon? And like, has anything just jumped the queue for you? I know the staple tank comes out, I think, next week from Claire Jackson, and that is a total keeper. DK weight yarn, not a lot of yardage, tons of customization. There is a little bit more math and thinking than with some other patterns. She does not spell out bust starts for you. You can totally make it without. But if you're a heavily busted person, or just, you know, even any real difference between your under bust, your upper bust, and your full bust, you might want to do the calculations because it's a really cool skill set to get. So and I like the way she rolled it, like put it out in the pattern and stuff. So look out for that one. Before I sign off real quick, let me just do a roundup. I think maybe I can fit all of them up here at once. They'll just be small pictures, but I'm going to put up, yeah, let's do it. I will just put up all 3 weeks so far of my knitwear. I'll put them in order, so I'll just pop them up really quickly, like over my head right now. you know, from left to right as you're looking at the screen, the every day of May so far that I have worn outfits. I'll at least do, actually, maybe I won't do today's. This is what I'll do. I'll do the last 21 days because I can easily fit 7 across without shuffling too much. So I will do all of these up here so you can see what they look like. I've not worn the same thing twice. I do not have to do that in a month, which is kind of a fun thing. I often do, to be real. But it's been fun to like dig through and pick things appropriate to kind of the weather for the day and also what I'm doing and what I'm feeling like. Because we did a fun thing. I got to wear like my Uptown pullover, which I don't wear very often because it pills a lot, but also it feels like a cuter, nicer than work sweater. So yeah, you can see them all here. I have been having fun. I have been posting every day. I have not missed a day yet, so thank goodness for that. But you can see them highlighted in a reel on my Instagram, and maybe I will do a final end of month reel, like a short here on YouTube where it's just, you know, the phone length of just zooming through all of them in over a song or something like that. So you can see that too, because it's been a really fun way to celebrate all of my different makes and like really like think about it. I obviously track already anyway, so I'm used to looking to see like, oh, what have I not worn recently? But it's been fun to do it and take pictures. For the most part, the pants I'm wearing are actually the pants I've worn. You know, I love when people take like full body pictures, but I just don't feel like I have a cute way to do that. Plus, a lot of times I took these like with bare feet, and like Emily is so cute and has this really great mirror in her office and like has a great way to do this. I go outside of my house under the porch where I have a tripod set up and I just go in and click quickly. Anyway, so you just got the top half of me for all these. That's all I have to share this week. I hope that you had a really nice time hanging out with me and knitting or doing yarn chores or crocheting or whatever you're doing. I heard there was some fiber chores last week, which I feel like a podcast is a great way to do some fiber chores if you were like picking your yarn or doing other things. So yes, anyway, thanks for hanging out. I will chat with you next week. Bye.